Blog Talk Radio. Chatting with Nat is a podcast for independent women seeking to speak their truth and to break down barriers. We host honest conversations that help to guide and empower women. Speak your truth and set yourself free. Let your voice be heard. Hi everyone, it's Natalie Jean, Natalie Jean. Yes, it's Nat, and we're back with Chatting with Nat. And today I have one of my favorite people, singer-songwriter Danielle Taylor. Danielle Taylor is an adult contemporary artist and singer-songwriter with a powerfully dynamic, warm, authentic voice. She has opened for countless Grammy recipients, and her original music is on Sirius XM in restaurants across the nation, in the skies on JetBlue and United Airlines, and in big box retail worldwide. So let's give a round of applause for Danielle Taylor. Audio Jungle. Hey, I love that. I just got that applause button. Every time I have somebody on, I'm like, I just love that button. I always wanted an applause button.
I love it.
And I want people to feel good, So
I do. I want to clap along.
Oh, my gosh. Well, it's working. I love that. So how are you doing since the last we talked?
I'm doing well. I'm just working and trying to make my music and, same old, but I'm doing really well. How are you doing?
I'm surviving a pandemic, teleworking, trying to get music done, working on a business, taking a class, trying to wrap my head around.
Yeah, you are all about it.
Trying to wrap my head around why I say yes.
You want to be everywhere and do everything, and I get it. Like that's what entrepreneurs are,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm an entrepreneur. I like that.
Yeah, you are. You run your own business. Yeah.
There you go. There you have it. So let's get started with this. What is one thing you wish you had known when you began your career?
Straight up, that it would take more than 3 years to be famous. Like, literally, when I first started out, I was telling people, like, it's going to be like 3, maybe 4 at the most years, and then everyone's going to know my name. And, not to say that that's not the path for some people, but that has not been my path. And
right.
I wish I knew what I was getting into. You do it because you love it. So it's like I would have still done it anyways, but I wish I had more – a more realistic timeline for myself. Would have been nice.
You're preaching to the choir.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll ever be famous. Now, people kind of know me in the independent world, and if you Google me, you'll find me.
You're Googleable. That's all that matters.
I'm trying to get your status. I can't even get verified on Twitter. So you're way ahead of the game. I was like,
the verification game, for anyone who's not verified out there that wants to know about it, you just have to have a buttload of press. You have to have a lot of stuff on the internet that's not your website, that's not your social media. You have to have, like, legit articles that have been written about you, which most of the time you can totally get. Like, there's, like, a website out there called HypeBot, and you can just, you got to submit yourself, and I think you have to pay for that, but whatever, dude, you can get tons of press that way. And then once you have enough stuff that proves like you are undeniably you, then boom, verification. That's all it takes.
Stuff on me on the internet, damn it. Yeah,
you just have to send in your stuff and be like, yo, I swear I'm me, and like I have all of this stuff to prove it. Please verify me because I'm a public figure. And then eventually they'll get around to it and go, yeah, you got it.
See, I love you. I already love you. I fell in love with you first IG, and I love you more for giving us that advice. You are awesome.
Oh yeah, there's so many secrets in the business, and I'm like, let's just talk about it. Like, what do you want to know? Let me just tell you. Don't waste your time getting this info. Let me tell you now.
There you go. And you know what's interesting? I love that you're doing that because, you know, when I initially got on Clubhouse, I was like, okay, what is this mess? And so this one lady, Empress, she does licensing and all this other stuff, and she was giving out a lot of information. Some of the information I already knew. It was like, you know, doing the whole metadata stuff, using SoundScan, SoundTrust, all that crap. And then, but there were like certain sites I didn't know about. So she was talking about how to find music supervisors and, you know, going to LinkedIn and using this special phrasing when you put it in the search criteria. And then she was talking about this site which is a wonderful site called Cyanite. And when you go on there, you just plug in your music, and it'll give you your metadata right there. It'll tell you what mood it's in, obviously the BPMs, all that stuff. And I was like, oh my God, this is so awesome. And then she gave us another talk on there, talked about this place, I think it's Tune Sound or Tune Find, where it'll show you the music supervisors, right, and all the ones that are on like Hulu, Netflix, or whatever, and tell you the kind of music they like. So that has been really good. But the crazy thing is, she told me some people have come to her and tell her, why are you giving all this away? They're actually mad at her for doing it. And she plans to do an ebook like next month. But I love people like that. They're willing to help, especially independent artists, get out there and say, okay, you want to do this? You have to work hard at it. But here are the tools to be able to do this stuff. I love people like that.
Totally. Well, and you know, the problem is, I think, like, on it, like, straight up, like, for a while, I held on, like, people were like, how'd you get on Sirius XM radio? And I didn't want to tell anybody about it because I did it myself. I didn't want to talk about it because I felt like it was competition, you know? But ultimately, your music speaks for itself. So, like, if your music is good, you're going to get on the radio with or without my help. Why not help someone out? Right? If your music sucks and you hit them up, they're going to say no, and it's not a big deal, you know? Or if you are just not a great, like, you know, communicator or whatever, when you send an email and you don't do it the right way, there's a lot of other stuff that you have to know besides just who to email, you know? So I think I'm all about, like, sharing. I wish people would have done that with me. Like, I literally have spent time with people and given them thousands of dollars just to get like 2 nuggets of information that were worth anything. But that's a lot of money. And I'd rather just share that information for free. Like, I had to pay for it, but that sucks. And I hated that I had to pay for it. Why would I keep my mouth shut and make other people pay for that? Like, I'd rather just be like, yo, this is what I know. And, you know, establish myself as someone you can lean on in the business, that you can trust, that you can come to, as well as like, hey, I try to make good music, you know? So
I get it.
I like people. I just want to be out there. Yeah.
You like people. Yeah, I like people. I like some people. Some people I can't stand. But
some people, I like almost every person. I don't think I've met a person that's fully 100% that I'm like, ugh, I don't like them. Like, most of the time I can find something cool about anybody. So.
I've tried that, but the past 6 years have been difficult. I've learned a lot about friends that I thought were friends and were some of the most racist people, you know, with the whole political thing. And I think people have the right to their opinion, but if you have a black friend and you're racist, it just doesn't work for me. I'm
surprised that. Yeah, that's.
It's. Like,
I don't understand how that even exists for real inside of someone's soul. Like, just like what? Like what? Like, I understand, like, we might not get like what, you know, like, I'm white and I might not get what someone, you know, who is a person of color is going through. Just like I have legs and I don't really understand what it's like to not have them, you know? Like, I feel like that kind of a difference makes sense, but how do you, I don't know. I just don't understand how you're just not a nice person to people. Like, people are just people. Like, just shut up and be nice.
Seriously. I'm a very loyal, compassionate, I love helping others, and that's what I always do. And sometimes that can get me into trouble. I'm a person that if you're my friend, I will defend you to the hilt, meaning that if somebody does something to you, they're doing it to me. And I basically will defend you to the core. And even in doing that, people have just stabbed me in the back. And you know what? I decided that this year I was going to get rid of all the negativity out of my life, and that would include some of these people, and I feel a lot better about it. I love the fact that you try to see the good in everybody. I try, Lord, I tried this year, but some people had to go.
Well, I think that you just have to set boundaries. You can't just open up to everybody. Just exactly. You know, some people are terrible. Like, I mean, I know some people that are like, Not, I wouldn't brag about knowing them,
Right.
but I can still find something, like even like a murderer is nice to their mother. You know what I mean? There's still some good somewhere inside of every person. So I just try to focus on that and then literally only spend time with that piece of them. And when they start to bring in all this other grossness, I'm like, I gotta go.
No,
I can't be around this part of you. Yeah.
I truly love that. I truly love that. And I love to disperse a lot of information to a lot of artists about how I did this, that, and the other. But I also am mindful of the people that actually don't put in the work. Like if you just want me to do everything for you, that's not going to work. You have to work just like the rest of us. You know what I mean? You have to work like the rest of us. When I started this, I was on the internet 24/7. I'm still on the internet 24/7, trying to see where I can put my music. How can I get out there? So you have to show that you're willing to put in the effort. I can't just say, okay, here. After years and years of digging.
Well, I mean, and the thing is you could do that. Like I have tons of, I've been in the business for, it feels like a million years. And I have lots of lists of people that are really good for my genre of music that I can send stuff to and whatever. And I've given that list to people, but like, I'm not going to hook you up with them. Like, I'm not going to make a personal connection, but here's the list. If you want to like be proactive, go for it. That's just what I mean. That's why I don't mind sharing information, because some people are not self-starters. So even if they have all the tools, even if they have every answer right in front of them, they're still not going to go for it. Like there are just some people that, just want to be discovered magically somehow without effort. So, I would love to magically be discovered myself, but that's just not how it is, and I kind of feel like some people are really lucky. Some people are a Justin Bieber and they put a couple singing videos on and Usher sees them and their life is different, and other people are like, I got to go get it. Like, I can't just sit here and wait for you. I got to go get this. So that's the kind of person I am. Like, I don't do a lot of like there's so many good singers out there, like so many beautiful, amazing singers out there that I'm like, I have to have more than that. Like, I can't just be a pretty voice in a sea of beautiful voices. Like, that's not enough anymore. You have to be a songwriter. Can you do something like writing a song is not, it's not a nothing thing, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like it's there's something to it. There's an art, there's a craft, there's something that you have to like learn about structure, learn about just whatever. And there's a curve to that. And I think that if you, no matter the genre, can learn that, then I think it's, sky's the limit. When you have a unique voice of your own, the sky is the limit. But when you are just singing someone else's song and that's what your jam is, that's where you're going to be relegated to forever, even if you get to be famous. Like, if you're not a songwriter and someone's like, dang, your voice is amazing, you'll be famous, but you'll still have other people writing what you're singing. So
exactly. It's doable. So what advice would you give someone wanting to pursue a career similar to yours?
That's a good question. I think I would say really get to know yourself as an artist, and be okay with whoever you are as an artist. Like, when I first started out, I tried a lot of different stuff. I think we talked about it a little on IG Live, but I tried like kind of singing like the R&B. I mean, I love soul music. Like, I think a lot of R&B has a lot more soul than some other stuff, like just in terms of the vocal lines and just, what the vocalist gets to do. But some of the language is, it's got a lot more slang in it. And I just can't say some of this stuff. Like, I remember at the very beginning, like, someone wrote a song and was like, hey, you want to try to sing on this? Because I didn't know what style I was yet. And I was like, sure. And like the lyrics were like poppy and daddy and stuff like that. And I was like, I can't say this. Like, I can't do this. Like, this isn't me. Or like keeping it 100, like, that's not me. So I think, and I was trying it on like a pair of shoes, like, I like shoes, but I'm not a high heel girl. I wear flats and boots and stuff. So I think you just kind of have to know yourself as an artist and then be comfortable with whatever you are. Like, don't, like, I'm I'm very girl next door-y as just a person. Like, I just like jeans and T-shirts a lot. I don't wear a lot of dress. Not that I can't wear a dress, but and I don't try to be something else. And I think a lot of times, especially right now with like social media being what it is, and people looking at music like it's a sport, like stats, like the way they look at like, oh, this baseball player has this many. I mean, I don't know anything about baseball, but you know what I mean? Like, they look at their numbers, like how many whatever pitches do they have or whatever. I feel like that's how music is now. Music is like, how many followers do you have on Spotify? How many streams do you have? Oh, you're worthless. You don't have a lot. And I think that that's garbage. And I think that, there's space for all of us to do music, whatever level we're at, however good or, new at it we are, whatever. Like, if you love it, you love it. You just have to be okay with what you are and be real about that. Like, if you're trying to fake yourself out, like, oh, this feels like, meh, it's not going to pop off the way you want it to. You just got to be real, and you'll be happier with yourself, I think. That's my advice. Anybody who's starting out, like, you can do it. Try it out. Just be legit. Like, be real with yourself. Yeah.
And it's so factual. So back to the resources. Here's a question. What are the top 3 resources that have helped you along the way?
So the number one thing that I think is the most important thing that any musician can have besides music is a website. And I am obsessed with Bandzoogle. I don't know if you've heard of them or not, but that's who I use to create my website. They have tons of different design, like templates and stuff, and it's really just a plug and play, but it's the best one that I've ever seen out there. And it's extremely, high-end professional. Like, I've had people like really high up industry folks, A&R guys, be like, oh man, I thought you had a whole team of people behind you based on your website. And I'm like, nope. I think your website shows who you really are. And I think that your website is there. MySpace was a thing at one point, and now it's gone. So if you put all your eggs in the MySpace basket and it disappears, you're screwed, So I think having a home base where people can see your shows, see your music, see any press that you have, that is like number one resource. And so I think that Bandzoogle is like the bee's knees for creating that. There's Wix and other stuff, but Bandzoogle is designed. I mean, it's really good for anybody who wants to have a website, but it's very, it caters nicely to the musician, to the artist. So, and it's like cheap. It's like $20 a month or something. It's nothing. So that is number one. I would say resource number 2 for me is probably, for a long time anyways, it was CD Baby. I think CD Baby is excellent. I have a new distribution company now, so I'm with like an official like distribution company. But when I was not, I was with CD Baby, and I love them because they help you track everything. So if you're going to spend any money advertising yourself, you can see all of your insights, which I think is really great. And then you know where to put your money, basically. Like if I'm doing really well on Facebook, do I really need to advertise over there? No. If I'm like sucking on Twitter, okay, well then maybe I'll put my money there. You know what I mean? Like, you want to, just as a business person, you want to be able to see the full picture, so they help that. And then in conjunction with the Full Picture Jam, there's a website out there called Charmetric, and that website, that one helps pull together all of the data across everything to really see kind of how you're doing, and give you a more global perspective in terms of where you're at socially, musically, is there anything charting, like what's going on with you. So those are my 3 that I think are essential. There's a ton of other stuff out there, but those are the ones that I'm like, if you do nothing else, get a website. CD Baby's a good distribution center, and you can track your stuff nicely. And they've got lots of good stuff. I think they actually just recently partnered with Bandzoogle, so that's nice, kind of a 2-in-1, I think, maybe. And then, and then Charmetric. Boom.
Boom. Chakalaka. All right. Yeah. Who are the 3 people who have been the most influential to you?
That is a great question. So I think musically, I would say that musically, Michael Jackson is like a big influence. Not like influence in terms of my actual music, but just in the sense that he kind of did whatever he wanted to do as an artist. Like he cut his teeth young, and he like earned his like stripes, if you will. And so he was able to be the king of pop because he literally was brilliant and he could do anything he wanted. If he was like, I'm going to have a rap in this song, and then I'm going to have like a rock guitar solo in this other song with Van Halen, and then I'm going to do some like, you know, there's this British band called Floetry. That's what they're called. They're amazing, and I love them. And he totally did one of their songs, you know what I mean, like covered. No one knew, because no one knew who they were, but I was like, you stole that, man. You covered this song. But I think that just the freedom that he had inside of his music to be a musician is extremely inspirational to me personally. Like, I hate being told, especially when I'm like, I wrote this song and I have a vision for this song, and then you go and you take it to someone fancy and you're like, hey, can you help me make this like super pro, you know, because I have very high standards for myself in my music. So I work with like the best people I can afford, which is normally between $2,000 and $3,000 a song, right? Like, I really go for it. So I'm working with these really high-end people, and some of them, not all of them, but some of them will say things like, that doesn't sound like a Danielle Taylor song. And anytime I've ever expressed like, what? Like, that's that, man, you know? Because my point of view is like, I wrote it. It came out of me. It is my song. It is a me song. I don't have to stick myself in this little box and be a specific sound. I'm allowed to play with my art and like put it out. And I think that's one of the things that, you know, I definitely think there is wisdom in choosing a lane, right? Like, I don't think it's smart necessarily to try to be both country and jazz and rock. And like, you know, I mean, you want people to be able to hold on to what you're doing. So I understand kind of picking a lane, but I think if you have influences from different things while still staying in that, you know, kind of on that path, right. I think that's cool. I love when people do that. One of my favorite artists ever is Sara Bareilles, and she takes a lot of chances with her music. You know what I mean? Like, she does a lot of stuff that's like, okay, I'm gonna be super like organic with this one and do nothing nothing electronic in my stuff. You know, it's going to be all like acoustic kind of instruments and raw voices. And then she'll do something that's like, I'm going to play with Broadway. And then she's like, oh, I'm going to do, I'm going to throw in like a bunch of synth stuff on my song. And they're all eclectic, but they all are her and they all fit. And as a fan, I'm down for that ride. Like, I'm like, yeah, you know, because I like her. I like her voice. I like her singing voice and her voice as a human. I like how her lyrics, like, I'm down for the ride. And I imagine that I'm not the only one that feels that way about her, and that I'm not the only one that feels that way about the artists that they love and follow. And if that's the case, you know, people will love me because I'm me. They won't need me to be something else. So that has been, you know, a big kind of learning thing for me, because I'm a very strong-headed person. So when the stuff is said to me that I don't agree with, I kind of respond about my own music, about me as a person. You know, I sort of am bullheaded when I respond, and that's not necessarily the nicest way to handle something. But I definitely, you know, I like artists, any artist really, but you know, the only artists that I really know of or like that have done this kind of thing are like Michael Jackson did this, Bruno Mars has done this, Sara Bareilles has done this. But otherwise, a lot of people kind of stick to their quote sound. You know, I like the idea of changing it up. If you want to change it up, change it up. People revere Madonna because she is constantly changing with the times, and you know what I mean? Like, I feel like just do you, and like, you know, if you're being honest with who you are, they're going to be open to it. They're going to be all about it. You know, they may not love every song you do, but they're going to be like, nah, this person's amazing. This artist is great. You don't know them? Oh my God, you got to know them, you know? So probably my most influential, those people. And then of course, to round that out, I would say also Whitney Houston, just because she, in my opinion, has the most beautiful voice of any person ever.
Yep. And her death was tragic, because, you know, you go back and you see when she was singing the national anthem, and you're just like, you're just in awe of great talent. But the thing with her is that she wasn't allowed to be who she truly was. And I think that's why, you know, she went into the descent into drugs and alcohol, and then that's why she's not here with us anymore. People need to stop trying to change people and just let them be who they are. You know what I mean?
Right. So, Totally. Well, and I think, you know, unfortunately, entertainment just the world, but I think the entertainment world, for as progressive as it really is, you know, sometimes I think a lot of times the entertainment world has led society because entertainment is what they see and hear most often, you know. Even though it's progressive, I think sometimes it's a little behind the times, and, you know, you are a victim of the times you live in a lot. And I think that definitely was the case for her. Can we sell her if she's, you know, if she has any, you know, gay leanings, I guess. I know that was kind of suggested. I don't know that that actually was true, but, or if she's more of a bad girl than we're making her out to be. Like, they made her out to be, like, super duper pure, and who can live up to that all the time, you know? So I think, yeah, I think that just whatever image they were trying to portray, I fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. I think she's the most beautiful, magnanimous, wonderful, amazing woman ever, and I completely disregard the whole drug problem. Like, I'm like, that doesn't even register to me, you know? But I think it's a big part of her personal individual struggle, and, you know, when you don't get to, like, when you're that famous and you don't get to, like, be a person anymore, is it even worth it? You know, like, I want to be famous in the sense that, like, I want people to know my name and buy tickets to my shows. Like, I don't necessarily need, like, fame, you know. I just, like, if I could fill, like, a 5,000 person stadium, that would be great for me. Like, that's it. Just 5,000 people in, like, 50 cities across the United States. I would be a very happy camper. And that's still a lot of people knowing who you are and being willing to buy tickets to come see you. And I mean, it's still a huge goal. But that's what I mean when I'm like, oh, fame, I want fame. You know, I don't need, even know that I want something larger than, I mean, I would take it, but, you know, I don't know.
But if you want to bring it to me, I'll take it. No, I hear you. Completely agree. Yeah. Now, you sent me Queendom, the song. What is that about?
Queendom is my, like, powerful girl anthem song, and it's about, like, I have some friends who are like, I need a man, and will I ever get a man, and I need a man, like, just, and you know, I don't think that we need a man. I think men are dope. I love dudes. I love men. I'm in love with a man. I'm in a, you know, like, I have no problem. Like, I'm not like a feminist, like, I hate men. I'm not like that. I just think, and so I just think that nobody needs anybody. Like, I think the best relationships are where you can walk away at any time because you don't need me, and I can walk away at any time because I don't need you, but I'm choosing you because I want to be with you. I think that is so much more powerful than a need, you know? So this song is just about being a strong woman and knowing that, like, you don't need, you know, to quote the song, a king to rule your queendom, basically. So it's really just, you are in charge of your own life. You are in charge of your own world. You are a badass. And I kind of try to go through all these different things that women do in the song. Like, you know, I mean, obviously I'm not being extremely pointed about it, but basically, like, women climb Everest. Women are astronauts. Women are physicists. Women are, you know, amazing people in many different fields. They're nurturers, they're warriors, they're soldiers. Like, we are all over the place. We are amazing. And to denigrate ourselves so much to say that we are nothing without a man is, or a significant other, is just so terrible. So I just wanted to write a song that was like, you got this, like, you don't need a king, you know? So that's what the song's about, basically, is just being a baddie. Yeah.
Being a baddie. All right, we're going to have a word sponsor, and then we're going to play it. Hold on 1 second.
Hi, it's Jordan and Madison, and we're Jay Madison out of Nashville, Tennessee. We'd love to tell you about B Squared Management, artist services by artists for artists. Get your press, branding, single release, and sync success plan now at bsquaredmgmt.com. And listen up to our latest single, Down, now on Spotify.
I have conquered the highest mountain. I have played in the deepest of seas. I'm no stranger, no, not to danger. There's nothing in this world that's gonna frighten me. I walk through the darkest alley with a fire burning wild and free, yeah. I won't bow down, no, like a lioness. Don't need any king to rule the queendom of mine. I pray like I'm in it, and I fight like a lioness. Don't need any king to rule this queendom of mine. I pray like I'm in it, and I fight like a lioness. Don't need any king to rule this queendom of mine. I pray like I'm in it, and I fight like a lioness. Don't need any king to rule this queendom of mine.
Audio Jungle.
I don't know what that thing says. I love that. That's why you are a queen. You, my
Thanks. I was singing along the whole time. It's a fun song. I love
It
it.
was nice. It was nice. No, I loved it. I love it. I love you. What is the one common myth about being in the music industry that you want to debunk?
Ooh, man, you got some good questions.
Sure.
A myth. I don't know. A lot of it's pretty true. I don't know that there are a lot of barriers. I don't think there's a lot of barriers for women or people, really. I mean, I think right now there are tons of opportunities across the board for lots of different kinds of people. Mm-hmm. I just think it's a who you know game, unfortunately. I mean, it's not an unfortunately thing. I mean, it's just you can't know everybody, you know. But once you know a couple people, the business is really small. So
right.
If you meet, let's say that you meet a cool person, and then you meet a second cool person, and you only know these two people. And in your conversation with person number 2, you bring up person number 1, chances are number 2 is going to know who number 1 is, you know. So I think it is just harder to find those people and to, chat with them, you know, and I think that's the only kind of funky thing out there. But most of what I hear, I mean, I'm a very positive person, so I try to lean into the light of life in general, and I don't really give a lot of attention to angsty, upset, angry, negative kind of stuff. So I don't hear tons and tons of bad stuff, but when you do hear bad stuff, there are some perverts out there, well, that's true. Or when you hear you know, it's so stupid, but your Spotify numbers matter, well, that's true, you know. Or when you hear that you need to invest in yourself, you got to spend money to make money. That's true, you know. So I think that a lot of the stuff you hear about the business kind of sometimes gets a bad spin, and it's really just your perspective, right? You know, it's hard to be excellent or seen at a high level in any industry, not just music. And so I think we are it's just there's more people trying to do it. And you know, if I was an A&R person, or if I was a music supervisor, you know, and I held the key to, so I wouldn't want every person knocking down my door. So I would make it a little more difficult to find me, you know. But if you found me and you approached me the right way, I would talk to you. And that's how most people are. I'm sure that when you are on these Clubhouse meetings that you were talking about, these people are really nice and approachable. Yeah. And it's because those people really are out there. It's just hard to find them, because it should be, because there's thousands of us out there trying to be yo, put my song in a TV show, you know. So I think the anonymity of these folks is important for them and their lives and their security and privacy and stuff. But I also think it gets a bad rap, oh, you can't reach out to people. You totally can. You can find them on their Instagram or their LinkedIn or their Facebook or their Twitter, or you can Google them. And there's tons of ways to find people. You just have to be crafty, and you have to be polite when you get in touch with them. Then you have to know how often to follow up and all this other stuff. But that's what I think. I think not too many. I think a lot of the things that are out there, I mean, they're out there for a reason. I think stereotypes and cliches are there because to an extent there's truth in them, you know. So I just think you have to be Smarter than the Smarties, you know?
Smarter. I like that. Oh, you know what? I'm going to take that and put it on.
You know what that's from? That's from DuckTales. That's from Scrooge McDuck says you have to be smarter than the Smarties and tougher than the Toughies. And I just quoted a duck.
And that's why we love you. Okay. So that being said, what are your 2 favorite quotes besides those?
So I am a huge fan of Disney, and all my quotes are Disney oriented. I don't mean to sound like I'm like a total loser goober person, but I really like Disney because I feel like Disney movies, like I don't like every single thing they've ever done, but I feel like Disney movies are really good at like they're there for children, right? So they instill good morals and they change with the times, and I think they're doing their best to be inclusive and kind, and they kind of have been doing that for years. And I think their messages about family and about humanity and about being kind to other people, being honest, just perseverance, all those messages are really great. So I have always really enjoyed those movies because I feel like they just remind us of things that sometimes we forget as adults because we get so lost in like all the BS of just being a grown-up, And that's why it's so magical to kind of look back on these movies every once in a while and be re-inspired and have that childlike innocence reignited. So that's why I really like them. But my favorite quote of all time is from Cinderella, and she's singing the song, but it's "A dream is a wish your heart makes." And then the second part of it that I like is "have faith in your dreams and someday, they will come true," basically. And I think that's the jam right there. There's lots of really good quotes by lots of brilliant people out there, but I like, if you really love something, I feel like that passion and that love is there for a reason, and I think if you pursue it, and we're not all good at everything, right? Like I really, really enjoy lots of different things that I'm not like the best at. Like I really like carpentry, which is weird, but I suck at it. I can barely use a drill, Not to say I couldn't learn, but it's like we're not born. I don't know that we're necessarily born to do something, but I do think that we all have preferences and leanings and things like that, things that we love. And if you have a dream, if you don't believe in yourself, you don't believe in that dream, you don't have faith in it, like it's not going to happen. How is it going to happen? No one makes things happen for you in your life except for you. And I think whether those are good or bad, a lot of times I think your outlook really determines how stuff shakes down. So that's why I like it so much. Just, so I get like so teary-eyed sometimes in my life because I'm like, yeah, just believe in your dream, man. Like I just am so optimistic that, and I know that even if someday I'm, I would really love it if I got to have a singing career, a performing career predominantly. If that was my path in life, it would be amazing. But if it wasn't, I feel like music is still my life and I can still find work inside of music and do music for a living. Like that changes, and what success means changes, because it has to or because you want it to or whatever. But I think as long as you, believe in your dream and your ability to achieve that dream, the sky's the limit,
I agree with you 100%. So what is your favorite part about being an artist?
I would say performing live, is my favorite part of being an artist. I really love writing songs. I really love the recording process. The recording process is extremely challenging because you're allowing other people into your creative space. But the performance part is just fun because when that happens, the people that are there are just down for a good time. They want to hear good music, Right. They're either fans already, so they're already in your camp, or right. I kind of also love the challenge of like I play the, county fairs all over California. And those people, not everybody there knows me. Like some people know me, but like tons of people don't know who I am. And I love the challenge of just like singing, like belting my ass off and having people be like, whoa, I got to stop eating this corn dog. Who's that?
Exactly.
Like that's extremely fulfilling for my ego. Honestly, like, yeah, I'm a good singer, stop and listen, you know. But I also really love the energy you get from a crowd when, you know, whether they know you or not, when you're just in the moment, you're in the zone and like everything's going really well, they're with you, they're there. And it's something, it's cool. It's something that you share. I love going to concerts and having that myself with bands, or like standing shoulder to shoulder with people who are all feeling what I'm feeling. Like it's cool. And so I think the live experience is my favorite part of being an artist. Like if people were like, hey, we like your voice, but your songs are awful, we'll sign you, but you got to sing other people's songs, I'd be like, hell yeah, because I really just want to perform. You know, I work on songwriting because, again, like just go out there and get it yourself. I'm a very DIY person, so I need to learn how to make these good because you can't lean on people to always do that for you. So That's why I write songs, and I've found my voice, and I know my style and what I believe in and all that good stuff. But ultimately, if someone was like, we like you, but, you know, these songs got to go, you got to do this song. As long as the song's not with something that I'm like against, I'm like, I don't care. Sure, it's a good song. I don't care. I don't care whose song it is. Please let me sing in front of people. Please let me be up there on that stage, like just entertaining for a living, because I love it. So.
I love that. Now tell our audience where they can find you on the internet.
Find me everywhere. My website is DanielleTaylorMusic.com, and all of my stuff is Danielle Taylor Music. So Instagram is Danielle Taylor Music. Facebook is Danielle Taylor Music. YouTube is Danielle Taylor Music. TikTok is Danielle Taylor Music. If you want to find me, just Google Danielle Taylor Music, and everything will come up in the world that, you know, and then you can go check me out. Or go to my website. Everything's on my website, too.
You heard it here. Thank you so much, Danielle Taylor. I've grown to love you so much because you are a truth speaker, and I love women that speak their truth, that are not afraid to be themselves, and that inspire other women and men to speak their truth and to honor who they are as individual beings. So I thank you for that, and thank you for giving me the honor of being on my Blog Talk Radio podcast, and I'm going to follow you forever. I hope we can stay in touch because I think you're just an awesome person. I think you have a lot to offer the world. So thank you very much for being on my show.
Girl, thank you for having me on. I've really enjoyed talking to you. You have amazing questions, great energy, and I will definitely stalk you forever.
Yay! I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much. That was Danielle Taylor. She is awesome. You got to go find her. And if you don't remember the website, you know what you can do. Just Google her. Thank you so much.
Hey, y'all. I'm the...
Chatting with Nat is a podcast for independent women seeking to speak their truth and to break down barriers. We host honest conversations that help to guide and empower women. Speak your truth and set yourself free. Let your voice be heard.